Hi, it's Natasha N.K.O, 6th of July now, 10 minutes past midnight. Reading from African Tales. I have read a few so far. I have read Kwaku and Nancy and a Soul, Akenda and Barney, The Cock, Tale of a Lantern, The Favoured Daughter, The African, Shamil and Shamilia. And so today I'm going to read Half a Cock. This is from Morocco, Berber. In times past, there was a man who had two wives, and one was wise and one was foolish. They owned a cock in common. One day they quarrelled about the cock, cut it in two, and each took half. The foolish wife cooked her part, the wise one left her part live, and it walked on one foot and had only one wing. Some days passed thus. Then the half-a-cock got up early and started on his pilgrimage. At the middle of the day he was tired and went toward a brook to rest. A jackal came there to drink. Half-a-cock jumped on his back, stole one of his hairs which he put under his wing, and then he resumed his journey. He proceeded until evening and stopped under a tree to pass the night there. He had not rested long when he saw a lion pass near the tree where he was lying. As soon as he saw the lion, he jumped on his back and stole one of his hairs, which he put with that of the jackal. The next morning he got up early and took up his journey again. Arriving at the middle of a forest, he met a boar and said, "Give me a hair from your back, as the king of the animals and the trickiest of them have done, the jackal and the lion." The boar answered, "As these two personages, so important among the animals, have done this, I will also give you what you request." He plucked a hair from his head and gave it to Half-a-Cock. Half-a-Cock went on his way and arrived at the palace of a king. He began to crow and to say, "Tomorrow the king will die, and I will take his wife." Hearing these words, the king gave to his servants the command to seize Half-a-Cock and cast him into the middle of the sheep and goat pen, to be trampled upon and killed by them, so that the king might get rid of his crowing. The servants seized him and cast him into the pen to perish. When he got there, Half-a-Cock took from under his wing the jackal's hair and burned it in the fire. As soon as it was near the fire, the jackal came and said, "Why are you burning my hair? As soon as I smelled it, I came running." Half-a-Cock replied, "You see the situation I am in. Get me out of it." "That's an easy matter," said the jackal, and immediately blew in order to summon his brothers. They gathered around him, and he gave them his command. "My brothers, save me from Half-a-Cock, for he has a hair from my back that he put in the fire. I don't want to burn. Take Half-a-Cock out of the sheep pen, and you will be able to take my hair from his hands." At once the jackals rushed to the pen, strangled everything that was there, and rescued Half-a-Cock. The next day the king found his stables deserted and his animals killed. He looked for Half-a-Cock, but in vain. The next day at the supper hour, Half-a-Cock began to crow as he did the first time. The king called his servants and said to them, "Seize Half-a-Cock and cast him into the castle yard, so that he may be crushed under the feet of the cattle." The servants caught Half-a-Cock and threw him into the middle of the cow pen. As soon as he got there, he took the lion's hair and put it into the fire. The lion came, roaring, and said, "Why do you burn my hair? I smelled from my cave the odour of burning hair and came running to learn the motive of your action." Half-a-Cock answered, "You see my situation. Help me out of it." The lion went out and roared, calling his brothers. They came in great haste and said to him, "Why do you call now? Take Half-a-Cock from the ox yard, for he has one of my hairs which he can put into the fire. If you don't rescue Half-a-Cock, he will burn the hair, and I don't want to smell the odour of burning hair while I am alive." His brothers obeyed. They at once killed all the cattle in the pen. The king saw that his animals were all dead, and he fell into such a rage that he nearly strangled. He looked for Half-a-Cock to kill him with his own hands. He searched for a long time without finding him, and finally went home to rest. At sunset, Half-a-Cock came to his usual place and crowed as on the former occasions. The king called his servants and said to them, This time, when you have caught half a cock, put him in a house and shut all the doors until morning. I will kill him myself." The servants seized him immediately and put him in the treasure room. When half a cock got there, he saw money under his feet. He waited until he had nothing to fear from the masters of the house, who were all sound asleep, and then he took from under his wing the hair of the boar. He started a fire, and placed the boar's hair in it. At once the boar came running, shaking the earth. He thrust his head against the wall. The wall shook, and half of it fell down. Going to half a cock, the boar said, "Why are you burning my hair at this moment?" "Pardon me, you see the situation that I am in, without counting what awaits me in the morning, for the king is going to kill me with his own hands if you don't get me out of this prison." The boar replied, "That is easy, don't fear. I will open the door so that you may go out. In fact, you have stayed here long enough. Get up, go, and take money enough for you and your children." Half a cock obeyed. He rolled in the gold, took all that stuck to his wing and his foot, and swallowed as much as he could hold. He took the road he had followed the first day, and when he had arrived near the house, he called the mistress and said, "Strike now, don't be afraid to kill me." His mistress began to strike, and struck until half a cock called from beneath the mat, "Enough now, roll the mat." She obeyed, and saw the earth all shining with gold. At the time when half a cock returned from his pilgrimage, the two women, the foolish wife and the wise wife, owned a dog in common. The foolish one, seeing that her companion had received much money, said to her, "We will divide the dog between us." The wise woman answered, "We can't do anything with it. Let it live. I will give you my half. Keep it for yourself. I have no need of it." The foolish one said to the dog, "Go on a pilgrimage as half a cock did and bring me some gold." The dog started to carry out the commands of her mistress. She began her journey in the morning and came to a fountain. As she was thirsty, she started to drink. As she stopped, she saw in the middle of the fountain a yellow stone. She took it in her mouth and ran back home. When she reached the house, she called her mistress and said to her, "Get ready the mats and the rods. You see that I have come back from the pilgrimage." The foolish one prepared the mats, under which the dog ran as soon as she heard the voice of the mistress and said, "Strike gently." The woman seized the rods and struck with all the force possible. For a long while the dog cried out to her to stop the blows, but her mistress refused to stop until the animal was cold. Then she lighted up the mats and found the dog dead with a yellow stone in her mouth. Photo of an Xhosa storyteller from November 4th, 1975, named Nombulela Kolisile. That's the first one that I've seen named so far. That is the end. The next story is also short. It's called The Boy and the Girl. It's from Cameroon, Bulu. It says, once there was a man who was a hunchback. When he went courting, he saw a woman who was also a hunchback. He said to the woman, "I wish to marry you because you are a hunchback, even as I myself. Therefore I wish to marry you." The woman assented and they were married. The man happened to hear of a person who had the power to heal hunchbacks, so he arose to go to this man. As he was journeying on the road, he came upon a very old man, and he gave him some food. The man was offensive and ugly and dirty, but he nonetheless gave him of his food. The old man said to him, "My young man, when you have reached the town and they cook food for you, then take the food to a house that is old and tumbled down. Do not object, but go and eat there." And the young man did that. When he reached the town, they cooked food for him, then took it to a bad-looking house. He went there and entered the house and began to eat the food. Suddenly, he noticed a very old man lying there, and he took part of his food and gave it to the old man. The old man asked him, "Who instructed you in this matter?" He answered, "I myself." Then the old man said, "This very night, if they come and ask you, which do you prefer, a charm covered with the skin of the genet, Genet, or a charm covered with the skin of a civet cat, Civet, cat, you reply, 'I prefer a charm covered with the skin of a genet.' And if they ask you, Which do you prefer to be, straight as an arrow or bent over? You answer, straight as an arrow. When night had come, they showed him a house in which he was to sleep. During the night they came to him. Which do you prefer, a charm covered with the skin of the gannet or a charm covered with the skin of a civet cat? He said, I prefer a charm covered with the skin of a gannet. And they asked, which do you prefer to be, straight as an arrow or bent over? And he said, straight as an arrow, and thus he was healed. He returned to his old town, a man healed completely. When his wife saw this, she was very much grieved, because she and her husband had both been hunchbacks, but now her husband was a well man. So the woman jumped up quickly and started to go. But her husband called out to her, Wait, I will instruct you as to what you should do. But she replied, No, did you say anything to me at all, or even say goodbye when you went away? So she went in great haste. And she came upon the old man lying by the roadside. She spat on the ground and said, What a horrid old thing this is. And the old man in turn said, My youthful woman, go on to where you wish to go. The woman said to him, I see that you wish to offer me insult with your talk. She left him lying there and went on her journey. When she had come to the town, they cooked food for her, and they took the food to the house where the old man was staying. She said in her pride, Am I of no account that they take food for me to such a horrible place? The people said to her, We know of no better place where you can go to eat. And the woman ate all the food herself. Not a bite did she give to the very old man. When night came, they showed her a house to sleep in. They came to her during the night and asked her, Which do you prefer to be, straight as an arrow or bent over? She said, Bent over. They asked her, Which do you prefer, a charm covered with the skin of a gannet or one covered with the skin of a civet cat? She replied, A charm covered with the skin of a civet cat. And the hunch on her back became even worse than the one she had previously borne. When she returned home to her husband, he said to her, I will never live in marriage with you again. Thus did the woman go from bad to worse. Upon whom rests the blame for this affair? Is it upon the woman herself or her husband? Thus did the woman go from bad to worse. The end. Thanks for listening.